Hi, my name is Puggles from H1 Airsoft, and today we're going to be comparing the Novritsch SSP18 and the Umarex Glock 18C officially licensed. Starting off with external features, the Glock 18 has very realistic controls. Everything is to spec with what you would expect from, well, a replica Glock. With the SSP18, however, all the shortfalls that come with Glock system are fixed, such as the tiny mag release right there. Comes stock with the SSP18, a larger mag release, as well as a slide release, as you can see. Very easy. That's better for people with smaller hands. So what I've noticed is that the Glock 18C has a barrel that wobbles around a lot. This thing, there's nothing holding it in place. It just moves back and forth, reciprocates, which means that follow-up shots, both on semi and full auto, are inaccurate. With the SSP18, the barrel is secured much better into place. So if I try to wiggle it around, there's very little movement. Very easy semi and full auto shots. Another external feature is the trigger. So with the trigger, Glock curve that comes stock with all Glock firearms. Another upgrade for the SSP18 is that this has a flat trigger. The Glock curve trigger is, well, a curved trigger on the Glock, which means firing it is going to be a little bit different than firing a flat trigger. It's really up to personal preference. I prefer the flat trigger. It's a lot more comfortable for me. At the end of the day, it's up to you. What comes with the Glock 18C is a 50-round extended magazine like this, but longer. This comes with the SSP18. The extended magazine is hit or miss. I had two at one point. One of them, the seal on the bottom just broke. This part right here, if you can imagine, there's a screw right over here to tighten up the bottom of it so the gas didn't leak. That part itself got stripped. No matter how much you tighten it, it'll just stay broken. I find that happens a lot with Umarex replicas. The quality just isn't always there. If you look at Novritsch stuff, this thing could run through mud, through water, which I think is something we should test in the future, how well this thing can run, and maybe even compared to this. Another external feature is the pick rail underneath the Glock and underneath the SSP18. So, again, replica Glock. This comes pretty standard on most Glocks right here. Just one notch for Picatinny mount. Whereas the SSP18 has a bunch more notches that you can use to effectively put any size light or foregrip, if you so choose to put on that. Another thing that comes with the SSP18 that does not come with the Glock 18C is a threaded barrel right out of the box. So they paint their threaded barrel orange, as they have to sell them, but it does ship with one of these, which is a thread cover. So just screw that on. The threads are 14mm negative. And just like that, you can put all sorts of fun things on it, like a suppressor. That would go all the way in, but I just haven't loosened it. And if you take off the thread protector, so just the threads are exposed, you can put little tracer units on as well. And that would screw on all the way. That's all aftermarket stuff that you have to buy separately. With the Glock 18, as far as I know, there's no surefire way to get threads out of this unless inside the barrel is threaded, which I do not think it is, because the orange tip just kind of slides around when you move it instead of unscrewing itself. However, This absolute beauty is sold by AW Custom. It's a chassis for a Glock 18 or 17 carbine. So what you would do is you would take a Phillips flathead screwdriver, which there is a tool that comes with this, but it very easily just gets lost because this isn't a very secure way of securing a tool. You unscrew this screw back here, which releases, well, the stock from the rest of the chassis. This fits with the Glock 18, but not with the SSP18. And I'll show you why. So the Glock 18, slide it in, nice and good. Slide it in, nice and good. Put that on, screw it in, and you get a fully functioning carbine. This charging handle is non-reciprocating, so when it fires, it just stays in place. Very fun to do that, kind of like a HK, but without the locking mechanism. Unfortunately, this doesn't work with the SSP18. My working theory is because of this beaver tail right here that the Glock 18 does not have. So if you look very closely at the rear right here, you can see that there's very limited space back there. So put a Glock back there, it'll fit nice and snug. Put SSP18 back there, it's not going to fit, it's going to wiggle around, it's going to move all over the place. Now I'm fairly certain that we can, in fact, put it in the front with a little bit of wiggle, as you can see, but it does fit up there. So, but like I said earlier, stock does not come, will not secure itself to the rest of the kit. What I like about the kit is that you can put forward grip. You can't really put a forward grip on the Glock 18C, which is why the kit is great for that. You got so much space, and you also have a lot of top space for an optic, for a pec box, anything you really like. Another thing I don't like about this kit is how difficult it is, number one, to get this in here. One is that if you bring it back a little bit, bring the charging handle back a little bit, the slide will not reset. So that looks like this. You kind of have to re-rack the slide, which is fine if you're just plinking outside, but if you're at a field trying to play, have fun, and you get somebody in your sights, and you try to take them down, you can't. Speaking of sights, these sights look really low, right? So if you try to, aim down these sights with a mask, you're just not going to be able to. I can barely do it without a mask. So I like the sight picture that it gives, but if it was just a little bit higher, that'd be great. So sight picture, kind of like a front sight picture of a Car 98K. You got the notch right there, circle. Rear sight can be adjusted to this circle right here, or this little valley. The tightness of this can be adjusted with this little Phillips head screw right here. Not really sure what purpose that fulfills, because if you just unscrew it all the way, the sight itself will pop all the way up. The adjustments are very minor, so it's either the sight is way too high or the sight is way too low. Taking a look on the inside, they look very similar. You might notice the SSP18 slide and the Glock 18C slide. So they look very similar. This has a bit more upgraded pieces in it. This piece is reinforced right here. Put this down on the table. Whereas this piece is just like a little flimsy black plastic. Barrels are also extremely different in design. So the Glock 18C barrel just pops out when you need it. So the 18C barrel comes out really easily. So as you just saw me take it apart, the inner barrel slides right out of the outer barrel. The SSP18, the barrel is nice and secured in there so that it can't really get out with you having to get in there with a screwdriver. This improves the accuracy of the gun overall, which I like. The slides of the two different Glocks are also different. Glock 18C has a stereotypical Glock sights because it's a Glock replica, white. SSP18 has non-colored rear sights and this, I want to say fiber optic, but I know that's the wrong word, front sight. Depending on which model you get, if you get the electric version, this is going to be red. If you get the gas version, or CO2 version, that's going to be green. Overall, I prefer the SSP18 to the Glock 18C for many reasons. One of them being this is more reliable. Overall uses has longer range, more attachments can be added to it, and it has upgraded parts that come integrated with the gun when you buy it stock. Prices are surprisingly about the same. The Glock 18C is something you're most likely going to find at a local retailer because of how widespread it is. However, I would still spring the extra money to get some for the shipping for the SSP18. I think the overall price difference is only a couple dollars because the Glock 18C is $200 retail. The SSP18 is $200 retail as well. To order the SSP18, you gotta go directly to their store. I don't think they have it on e-bike just yet. It'll be there soon though. Novritsch has already got a bunch of his gear there already. Like I said, Glock 18C, you'll find this pretty much everywhere. Local fields, local shops, and on Amazon and e-bike. First, we have the SSP18. This is made by Novritsch. It's their version of the Glock 18C. This is the SSE18 by Novritsch. It's an AEP, so this is run by a LiPo inside the slide. Safety. Very quiet. We're shooting with 32s, so BBs are going a little bit slower than if they were shooting with something a bit heavier. Full auto with this is fun. It's like shooting a little mini M4. This is the extended magazine. It does not come with this, I believe. You have to buy this separately. It's fairly cheap though, for a very good price. It's made out of plastic, not metal. In fact, not much of this is made out of metal. If it is, it's very light. So, it has all the same controls, same kind of trigger as the SSP18. This has a safety though, instead of the, slide coming off by flicking this little thing. It triggers the safety. So up, there we go, down, no bueno. Okay, so we have here is the Glock 18C and the AW Custom Carbine Kit with this mock ACOG on it. I have the ACOG on it because I don't have any other available red dot sights, and I don't really want to use the iron sights on this because they're very low. Function. Okay. Let's try full auto with this thing. And that's the mag. Never mind, it's not the mag. What the hell? Another malfunction? We are out of BBs, but the gun is still firing. And that's locked. Okay. I was not expecting to have that many malfunctions with the gun, so this is going to be interesting to play a couple games with.